there is a quiet concern that I have seen repeat itself for many years. People who work hard, people who wake up early and come home late, people who are not lazy, not wasteful, not avoiding responsibility, and yet money still seems not to stay with them. They work more, they try harder, they sacrifice more. And then they quietly ask themselves, why? I once stood exactly in that place. I used to believe that if I just worked more hours, if I just endured a little longer, my financial life would automatically change. But as the years passed, my wallet remained light, and my mind felt heavier than ever. And then I realized something very hard to accept. Money does not respond to diligence. It responds to the person behind that diligence. Imagine you plant seeds every day. You are hardworking, consistent, never missing a single day. But if the soil remains barren, if you never improve it, then the harvest will only give you exactly what that soil is capable of giving. Your mind is that soil. Many people pray for wealth, but they have never asked, is my mindset a place where wealth wants to take root? Throughout my life, I learned that you do not need to chase money. You only need to become the person that money is naturally attracted to. Today's video is not about how to make money faster. It is about the quiet secrets in your mindset, the things that determine why money comes easily to some people, while for others it remains out of reach for a lifetime. If you have ever felt that you have done enough, but the results still do not match, if you have ever wondered whether there is something deeper you have not yet seen, then today, I want to invite you to look within before you look outside. And you should stay until the end of the video, because the final mindset may change the entire way you see your life. The first mindset: money does not pursue those who need it, money follows those who deserve it. There is a silent rule that took me many years to face directly. Money does not move according to emotion. It does not hear complaints. It is not moved by desperation. Money is like water. You can stand on top of a hill and call to it with all sincerity, but water never flows upward. It always seeks the lowest place, the place capable of holding it. When I was young, I believed that needing money was enough. I needed money to pay bills. I needed money for a better life. I needed money to escape the feeling of being stuck that was suffocating me every day. But need has never been the reason money comes. I once worked for a company, showing up on time every day, completing my assigned tasks, even working overtime. I thought, surely life will soon recognize this effort. But month after month, my income barely moved. Not because I was treated unfairly, but because I had never asked a more important question: have I become the person worthy of the income I desire? Many people say, if I had more money, I would live more responsibly. But life operates in reverse. When you live more responsibly, money begins to find you. Money does not come to save you. It comes to cooperate with you. I once met two men doing the same job, in the same position. One always talked about being underpaid. The other talked about what he could learn to become more valuable. Many years later, one was still there, same job, same frustration. The other had moved on, not because of luck, but because he had become a different person inside. The difference was not in circumstances. It was in internal standards. Money is very sensitive to standards. It does not ask how much you want. It asks, who are you? If you are undisciplined, money will not stay long. If you lack commitment, money will visit and then leave. If you only act when inspired, money will not consider that a safe place to stop. I learned that wealth is not something to beg for. It is something to build from the inside out. Imagine a container. If the container is small, no matter how much water you pour into it, it can only hold that much. Water does not hate the container. It simply respects its limits. You are that container. You may desire a large income, but if the way you think, the way you make decisions, the way you keep your promises is still small, then money cannot stay without creating chaos. I once told myself something very hard to hear. Jim, the problem is not that you do not have money. The problem is that you have not become big enough to manage the money you are dreaming about. When I began to change not my job, but who I was each day, everything started to shift. I learned to keep promises to myself. I learned to do small things well, even when no one was watching. I learned to become reliable before I became wealthy. And then I realized, money does not come as a reward. It comes as a consequence. You do not need to chase it. You only need to stand in the right position. Just as the sun does not need to be persuaded to shine, you only need to step out of the darkness. When you become more valuable, life does not need to make an announcement. It simply responds. The first mindset for attracting wealth is not learning how to make money. It is learning how to become the person that money trusts. And when you understand that, a new question naturally appears. a question even more important than money. The second mindset, the rich focus on value, the poor obsess over money. There is a question I have heard repeated for decades, everywhere I have gone. It is not loud, but it reveals a great deal. How much will I be paid? I am not saying that is a wrong question, but it is a question too small to build a big life. People who obsess over money often see life as a short-term exchange. They enter a job with a very clear calculation in mind. I give you this many hours, you pay me this much money. And then they are surprised when their income never exceeds that number. Money does not operate that way. Let me give you a very simple image. An object standing under sunlight casts a shadow. The shadow is not the cause. It is only the result. Your value is the object. Money is the shadow. You cannot turn your back on the sun and try to pull the shadow toward you. You can only turn around and the shadow will automatically follow. When I was young, I asked the wrong question for many years. I asked, how can I make more money? But the right question should have been, how can I become more valuable? The difference between those two questions changed my entire life. I observed very intelligent, very hardworking people who always felt underpaid. They constantly felt the world owed them something, and carrying that mindset, they only did just enough not to get fired. Then I observed other people. They did not talk much about money. They talked about learning another skill. They talked about doing a little better than yesterday. They talked about becoming someone others could rely on. The results came slowly, but they came solidly. Money does not like desperation. It is attracted to stability. One student enters college with only one question: how much does this major pay after graduation? Another student enters with the question, what kind of person will this major help me become? 10 years later, they rarely stand in the same place. Value is not something you say about yourself. It is something others feel when they are near you. If you are someone who solves problems, money will find you. If you are someone who makes things easier, money will find you. If you are someone who consistently delivers more than what is required, money will find you. Not because you demand it, but because you deserve it. I have met people who say, if I were paid more, I would do better. But life sets the condition in reverse. Do better first. Then we will talk about the rest. Value always comes before money. Never the other way around. When you enter a room thinking only about what you will receive, you become small. When you enter with the question, what can I contribute? You begin to grow. And when you grow as a person, your income does not need to be forced. It will have to adjust to keep up. I learned that money is very honest. It is not fooled by words. It only responds to real value. You may temporarily earn money through cleverness, but you can only keep money through value. When you stop asking, how much am I paid? And start asking, how valuable am I becoming? You have crossed an invisible line. It is the line between chasing money and letting money naturally follow you. And right here, an even deeper truth begins to emerge, a truth that makes many people uncomfortable when they face it. The third mindset, your income rarely exceeds the person you currently are. There is a truth that, when first heard, makes many people uncomfortable, not because it is complicated, but because it is too simple. That truth is this: your income is often the most honest shadow of the person you carry with you each day. I have observed this throughout my entire life, not only among wealthy people, but also among those who constantly struggle. Rarely have I seen someone whose income far exceeds their inner level of maturity, and if it does, that situation never lasts long. Imagine you are pouring water into a container. If the container is small, the water will quickly overflow, not because the water is bad, but because the container is not yet ready to hold more. You are that container. Many people say they want a higher income, but when I look at the way they think, the way they speak, the way they keep their promises, the way they respond to difficulty, I realize their container is still very small. And money, like water, does not stay where it cannot be held. I have met people who deeply desire success. They talk about big goals. They talk about financial freedom. But the moment a small obstacle appears, they immediately return to old habits, old excuses, familiar limits. Not because they are not intelligent enough, but because the person inside them has not expanded. In my early years, I also believed that changing circumstances was enough. Change jobs, change environments, change opportunities. But each time I made those changes, I still brought myself with me. And because I had not changed, the results did not change either. Then one day, I realized something very clearly. If you do not like your income, look at the person you have become to deserve it. Life rarely gives you more than you can manage wisely. A person without discipline may earn money but cannot keep it. A person without integrity may gain opportunity but cannot sustain it. A person without responsibility may rise high but will fall quickly. Money does not punish anyone. It simply reflects. I once told my students, if you want more, do not begin by demanding. Begin by becoming. Become someone who manages time better. Become someone who keeps promises, even when no one checks. Become someone who does the right thing, even when no one applauds. Those changes are not loud. No one congratulates you for them. But money notices. I once met a small business owner who worked very hard, yet every year remained at the same income level. When we spoke more deeply, I realized he was afraid to expand, afraid to hire, afraid to delegate, afraid to lose control. His problem was not the market. It was that he was not ready to grow bigger as a person. Income is not just the number you receive. It is a measure of the level of responsibility you can carry, the level of pressure you can endure, the level of discipline you maintain when motivation is absent, and until those increase, your income will remain loyal to its old number. When you develop yourself, you do not need to shout at life that you are worthy. Life will adjust on its own in response. You cannot force spring to arrive sooner, but you can prepare the soil, and when the soil is ready, spring is never late. If what I have shared so far makes you reflect, if you feel you are beginning to look at yourself more than at your circumstances, I invite you to subscribe to the Jim Rohn Treasures channel, not as a click, but as a quiet commitment that you are ready to walk the path of developing the person within before expecting any change on the outside. And once you accept that your income reflects who you are, an even deeper question will arise. Not about how much you can earn, but whether you have enough discipline to keep what life gives you. The fourth mindset, money stays with the discipline, not with those who only have motivation. There is something I learned fairly early, but it took a long time to truly absorb. That is, motivation is exciting, but discipline is reliable. Motivation is like the wind. Some days it blows strongly and lifts you high. Other days, it disappears completely without warning. Discipline is different. It is like the rudder of a ship, not loud, not thrilling, but it determines where the ship will go, no matter which direction the wind blows. Money is very perceptive in recognizing this difference. Many people tell me they are highly motivated to become wealthy. They read books, they listen to speeches, they feel energized for a short time, but then life returns to its familiar rhythm, and with it, old habits return. Money sees that, and it withdraws, not because money is cruel, but because money needs stability. I have witnessed people suddenly receive a large sum of money. They are happy. They are excited. They believe everything will be different from now on. But without discipline, that money is like a guest entering a house without a foundation. It stays for a while, then it leaves. Money does not like houses without order. Discipline is not about doing grand things. Discipline is doing small things at the right time, the right way, repeatedly, even when you do not feel like it. I once said, success is not magic. It is the result of simple disciplines practiced every day. And money follows the same rule. A person may earn money through a good opportunity, but only a disciplined person keeps money through small daily choices. How do you spend when no one is watching? How do you work when no one supervises? To what extent do you keep promises to yourself? Money notices those things. I once met a very intelligent man. He had brilliant ideas. He spoke persuasively. Everyone believed he had a future, but he lacked discipline. Lacked discipline in time. Lacked discipline in words. Lacked discipline in finishing what he started. Opportunities came and went. Money visited and then left. Not because he lacked potential, but because potential is not enough to keep money. Money does not require perfection, but it requires consistency. A person who only acts when inspired will always live in instability. Moving forward today, stopping tomorrow, determined this week, giving up the next. Money does not build its life on such foundations. Discipline creates predictability. Predictability creates trust. And money stays only where there is trust. Think of discipline as how you treat your own future. Every small choice today is a vote for the person you will become. When you choose delay, you are telling your future, I am not ready. When you choose discipline, you are saying, I can be trusted. Money hears that message clearly. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. I used to be very excited about big goals, yet lacked consistency in small actions. And the result was always the same. Strong beginnings, exhausted endings. Only when I began to respect discipline, even when no one applauded, did things change. Not immediately, not loudly, but certainly. Discipline does not make you rich overnight. It makes you steady enough that when money arrives, you do not drop it. Money is like a long-term relationship. It does not bond with someone who speaks beautifully on sunny days. It bonds with someone who is consistent even on difficult days. And when you understand this, you will realize keeping money is harder than earning money, and only discipline can do that. But there is still an even deeper layer, a mindset that, once you reach it, will completely change the relationship between you and money. The fifth mindset: true wealth begins when you stop chasing it. There is a paradox that most people only realize after they have gone very far or when they are too exhausted to keep running. The more you chase money, the more it seems to avoid you. The more obsessed you are with becoming rich, the more you live in a feeling of lack. Not because you are wrong, but because you are chasing the shadow. Imagine you are standing under the sun. Your shadow lies behind you. You turn around and run toward it. You run faster. The shadow runs faster too. Not because the shadow hates you, but because it is not something meant to be chased. Money is the same. When you place all your attention on money, you unintentionally tell life, I am not enough. I am lacking. I need. And life has a very honest habit. It will continue to give you what you keep affirming with your mindset. I once went through a period when every decision I made revolved around money. Accept or reject an opportunity because of money. Feel successful or failed because of money. Evaluate myself also because of money. And the more I did that, the poorer I felt inside, even during times when my income was not low at all. That was when I realized wealth does not begin in your wallet. It begins with a sense of inner sufficiency. When you work only for money, you quickly become tired. When you work for value, money becomes a natural consequence. When you say, I have to make money, you place yourself in a reactive position. When you say, I will become a better person every day, money must adjust to keep up with that person. I have met people who are always stressed about finances, even though they earn quite a bit. They never feel enough. Every number they reach only makes them anxious about the next one. And I have also met people who are very calm, not in a hurry, not boastful. They focus on doing their work well, nurturing their relationships, maintaining discipline with themselves. Money comes to them as if returning to a quiet place. Wealth does not like haste. It does not attach itself to a panicked mind. It stays where there is inner trust. When you stop asking, how can I make more money, and begin asking, who am I becoming in this process, you step into a new level of awareness. At that level, money is no longer the goal. It is a secondary measure. You no longer live in a state of lack. You live in a state of building. I learned that truly wealthy people do not wake up every day fearing the loss of money. They wake up with the question, how well can I live according to my standards today? And those standards, not desires, determine how far your life will go. When you release some of the obsession, you gain space to think clearly. When you stop running, you begin to stand firmly. And when you stand firmly, money recognizes that this is a place where it can stay long term. Wealth is not attracted to desperation. It is attracted to maturity. Mature enough to say no to what makes you smaller. Mature enough to be patient with slow results. Mature enough to build the person within, even when no one yet sees the results outside. When you live that way, you no longer have to chase money. You simply continue walking in the right direction. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that money had already been there, not loudly, not ostentatiously, but abundantly. Because in the end, wealth is not about how much you have. It is about who you became in the process of getting there. If you listen slowly to the entire journey we have just walked through, you will realize something very clearly. Wealth does not begin with money. It begins with the person. We have talked about how money does not follow mere hard work, but follows worthiness. We have seen that money is the shadow of value, not a reward for complaining. We have faced an uncomfortable truth that income rarely exceeds the person you currently are. And finally, we have understood that money stays only with the disciplined and leaves very quickly for minds that are always rushed and unstable. All of this leads to one conclusion. When you change your mindset, you change your standards. When you change your standards, you change your life. You do not need to run faster than others. You do not need to prove anything to the world. You simply need to focus on becoming a better version of yourself, little by little, every day. Money will not come because you want it. It comes when you become the person life can trust to entrust it to. If this video gave you a quiet moment to reflect, if it made you look at yourself more than your circumstances, I invite you to subscribe to the Jim Rohn Treasures channel, and share this video with someone you believe needs to hear these words. Not to get rich quickly, but to grow from within. Before you leave, I want to leave you with one question. Which mindset today made you realize that you need to change, not the outside world? Share your thoughts in the comments. I always read them with appreciation. I once said, success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract by the person you become. And if you carry that with you after leaving this video, then the time we have just shared has truly been meaningful. I truly appreciate that you stayed until the end of this video.